Hello and welcome back to Drafted and Distilled, the weekly pour of sports, stories, and a splash of good spirits. As always, guys, I'm your host, Billy. Just a regular fan, like you guys, that loves to give my opinions as well as have a drink to mark the occasion. This is episode number 12. Can't believe we've been doing this for 12 weeks. This has been so fun. I know I say it every week, but guys, I'm so excited to be doing this. I can't wait to see what the future holds. And welcome to anyone who is brand new today. Welcome to our podcast. Thanks for looking us up and searching us out. So glad to have you here. Here at Drafted and Distilled, we pair sports and spirits in the best way possible with good stories, honest opinions, and a drink in hand. Each week, we pour up a new spirit or cocktail, break down its flavor and character, then dive into the biggest takes in sports with a mix of insight, energy, and easy humor. It's not too serious, guys, and definitely not too polished. Just real talk for fans who love the game and a good pour. So, welcome to episode number 12. Let's get into it, regulars. Here we go. So, here at Drafted and Distilled, as you guys know, we always start things off with what's in the glass. And today we are jumping back into the Johnnie Walker products. Today we're trying Johnnie Walker's Black Label. Last time we tried the Blue Label. And this time I wanted to try the Black Label specifically because it is the one that is kind of made for mixing. Which, if you've seen the show before, you know that we love to have a mixed cocktail on the show here. Again, about Johnnie Walker, they labeled their spirits with colors on the label. So blue, black, gold. I think they have a gold 18. And like I said, today is the black. So the black label for Johnnie Walker is actually a blend. So it's different from the blue. The blue was trying to become something very specific, a multi-layer, multi-flavor whiskey. This is blending a bunch of their whiskeys together and a bunch of different whiskeys to come up with the black label. And then they age that mix, that blend, for 12 years in oak barrels. And like I said, the black label is the one that you'll find in cocktails out in the world. So, on Drafted and Distilled, as the regulars will know, we like to go over to the website and see what each product is saying about their spirit. What to expect, what to look for, just trying to figure out what they're trying to tell us. So when we went over to Johnnie Walker, um, and found out about the Black Label being a blend, I didn't know that, so that was something that we learned. So the nose, they're saying sweetness wrapped in smoke with a hint of pepper. The palate is sweet vanilla and creamy toffee, and the finish should be sweet fruit and smoky peat mixed peels. So again, on Drafted and Distilled, we always like to just have a smell and see what we can find out about what they're saying. And right away you get that smoke. Right away you get the smokiness and the sweetness. That smells a lot like the Blue Label, which is jumped up to one of my favorite spirits. So I'm very interested in this. So I have a mixed cocktail here. Let's have a taste. Yeah, yeah, that is delicious. Before you guys say, I know that we're not supposed to mix Johnnie Walker products, and I have before, but this is the black label, so it's okay. That tastes freaking frackin' delicious. That you definitely get the toffee and the vanilla, but you still get some of that smoke, which delicious, really, really good. And the finish says sweet fruit and smoky peat with mixed peels. You get those in there. One thing that Johnnie Walker, I think, and this is my opinion, that they do really well is they're able to get a bunch of different flavors mixed with their whiskey. And when we talked about the blue label, they even tell you that. They even say that they are looking for you to be able to taste these notes. They wanted to make it as complicated as possible, but still a really delicious whiskey. And the blue label was that. This is that as well. This is delicious. Um, so, here, guys at Drafted and Distilled, if you've been here before, you know when I like something, we always say tastes like more. Regulars, this tastes like more. And I know that the Johnnie Walker labels are can be expensive, but the ones we've tried so far, blue and black, man, you got to go out and get some. They're complex whiskeys. They give you a lot of flavor, but they taste delicious. And as we've seen with something like Southern Comfort, who is a complex, what I would say a complex whiskey, it just doesn't taste very good. So these just taste delicious on my palate, and I just can't get enough of them. So, like I said, guys, this tastes like more. Go and do yourself a favor. And if you want to have a mixed cocktail, you want to have just something straight up, Johnnie Walker is really good. Of course, as always, not every drink is for every person. So, these are my impressions, these are my palates. I'd love for you to guys to try it, go out and get it, and let me know what you think. So, now that we've seen what's in the glass, pardon me, we always get next into our sports take of the week. And today we are going to continue with the NFL playoffs. And today we're talking about the divisional round. So we went from the wild card round. A couple of teams had a bye week. Now we're getting into the divisional rounds. No teams are off this week. And let's get into them. So the first one was the Broncos versus the Bills, and the Broncos won 33 to 30. It depends on who you root for here in this game, on whether you thought this game was really good. As an outside observer, I did think it was a super great game, very exciting back and forth. There was a call down the field on whether a Bills player was able to catch a ball, and I feel like they I thought it was a catch. They went against the Bills, called it a no catch, and I've really felt like that was the Bills coming back, and I thought they could win then, but they ended up not. Now, for the Broncos, yes, they won, and yes, they're going to the next round, but they lost their starting quarterback with a season ending ankle injury and are going to be starting someone who doesn't start games very often. So Bo Nix went down with an ankle injury, and has had surgery or is going to have surgery imminently. And Jared Stidham is going to be the backup. I'm worried. So I was a Broncos fan when John Elway was there. I was a Broncos fan when Peyton Manning went back to the Broncos or went to the Broncos. And I would love to see them do really good. I don't know if they're going to beat the Patriots. I just really don't know. I'm hoping and I'm rooting for them, um, but we will see. The next game we're going to talk about is the Seahawks and the 49ers. So the Seattle Seahawks won 41 to 6 against the 49ers. This was a shellacking. And it wasn't close. It wasn't as close as 41 to 6 even says, if you can believe it. Rashid Shaheed, who I spoke about in our trade deadline, yay me, uh, show, he returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. After that, it was downhill, quite frankly, for the 49ers. Um, they didn't have answers on offense or defense, and they got steamrolled. There's not really much to talk about other than that, to be honest. It was boring. I watched a bit of it, and there's nothing to report. So we'll go on to our next game. The Patriots and the Texans. The Patriots won 28-16. This one kind of hurt me a little bit. Being from Texas, I was rooting for the Texans, and their defense is dominant. Their defense can take over a game. And I really thought that the Texans would be moving forward into the championship game. And then I watched the game. It was terrible for the Texans offense. Um, CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions in the first half. It should have been more of a blowout than this, to be honest, but their defense is so good that they were able to hang a little bit and still had some chances. But I don't know what they're going to do with CJ Stroud. His 5th-year option is coming up, and I don't think they pick it up. I don't think they extend him, which before this year they probably would have given him a gigantic contract. But if you look at other teams like Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, like Tua in Miami, these have not worked out. And this game and this season was a warning sign. Red flags popped up, and I'm curious to see what the Texans do about him and how they're moving forward. Teams would pick him up in a minute. He is an NFL starting quarterback. There would be teams that would trade for him in a second and think they could fix him. But buyer beware, man. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know if he's going to come out of this. I don't know if it was pressure or what. But hopefully for the guy, he does well. And this is just a blip and he has a great career. The last game that we're going to talk about here is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Chicago Bears. The Rams won 20-17. This was a great game. This was, to me, the game of the weekend. I picked it for that other than the Broncos-Bills game, which was an exciting game as well. But this one it was back and forth, and it was two quarterbacks that just kind of refused to lose, to be honest. Um, Caleb Williams played at USC, and that is one of the schools I despise. So I I never really gave him much of a thought. I didn't think he was good or bad, to be honest, but I didn't think he was going to be a very good quarterback. And the Chicago Bears had a bunch of problems when he went there. The coach they have now, Ben Johnson, is considered one of the best offensive minds in football. And when they got him, I was interested. He has turned Caleb Williams' career around. Caleb is confident, man. He's sure of himself. The team believes in him on the field. He had some issues with wide receiver drops, and they'll get that cleaned up, I think. Those are fairly simple things to clean up from receivers. And all the receivers came out and have mentioned it. So they're all well aware of it. Um, he has a very good number one receiver in Moore, DJ Moore, and I think it's DJ Moore. And they're going to work this out. The throw that he made on fourth down, a 40 or 50-yard throw from his back foot for a touchdown in at towards the end of the game was spectacular and magnificent. And it shows you what kind of talent he has. I was wowed by that throw. Um, but I did want to just quickly also talk about Matthew Stafford. They've had a great year. He's played like an MVP candidate, and the MVP um, finalists have come out this week, and he is on there, rightfully so. So I am very glad that he is playing as well as he is, and his team is winning. He's 37, and he's turned back the clock this year and has really solidified himself as one of the best quarterbacks in football. So those are the games that were this past week. I did want to talk about a couple of things. Um, John Harbaugh got hired as the um, coach of the Giants. So he had been with the Ravens for 18 years, 19 years, and they fired him this year. He went to the Giants pretty quickly and didn't know. I thought he would go to the Miami Dolphins. He ended up going to the Giants. They have a young quarterback. I think this is a really great hire for the Giants. I thought they did really well scooping him up. He was the S tier leader for the coaches out there, and it's good for them for getting him. Speaking of the Ravens, Jesse Minter, which was the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, has now become their new coach. He has elevated the Chargers into a top 5 defense. And I think he is going to go there and really do something special. I love this hire for Baltimore. Their defense was not good the last couple of years, and they have an offensive coach now that can fix it. Depends on who they hire for Lamar, because that is very important. You have a franchise quarterback, a star in this league, so they have to get that right, and he will be part of that. Recently, Sean McDermott got fired from the Bills, which right after their playoff loss, they fired their coach. And their coach, and this is my opinion, their coach got more out of that roster than most would have. And then they promoted the guy who built the roster. So that was very interesting. And The owner came out in the last couple of days or yesterday and said that Josh Allen will be part of the hiring process for the next coach. So it's interesting to see how these star quarterbacks are getting so much power, and teams understand how important they are, and this mutually beneficial relationship between an owner and a star quarterback is just fascinating because in years past, no one cared what the quarterback thought. This is who you're going to get, and this is it. So it's just really, really fascinating to see how these things are going nowadays, and it's going to be very, very interesting. There, Fernando Mendoza, who just won a national championship with Indiana, is in all likelihood going to be the number one pick to the Raiders. And Tom Brady has come out, and people around Tom Brady have come out and said that this guy could be the next Tom Brady. He's not flashy. He's not, doesn't have the best arm or the best legs, but he works his butt off and he's coachable. If some of you don't know, the Tom Brady has taken part ownership in the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's the connection there. And everyone in the world thinks that Mendoza will be the number one quarterback for the Raiders. The rest of their team is freaking horrible. It's putrid, sorry. And I'm just curious to see who they get, who is going to be the new head coach there, how this is going to kind of work itself out. It'll be quite interesting to see how that plays out, this dysfunctional franchise, and see if they can turn it around with the true number one quarterback. Lastly, here, the Dolphins ended up hiring, and I lose this guy's name, Jeff Hafley. And they are all in on a defensive-minded coach. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how that works out because they have what could be a top 5 offense, although it's aging. They still have two really, really good receivers in Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So it'll be interesting to see who the new offensive coordinator is there. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one plays out as well. Guys, that is it for this week. We made it to the end. Next week, we are actually going to take our first week off. So there won't be a Drafted and Distilled next week. I'm starting a new job very, very soon. So we're going to take a week off to see how that goes. And then we'll, catch back up with you guys with our regulars and all our newcomers here and, continue this journey. So thank you a million times over. I can't say it enough how happy we are to do this episode and how lucky we are that people are listening. If you guys want to reach out to us on our socials, you guys can find me at Instagram, drafted_distilled, at X at draft and distill, Facebook under Drafted and Distilled, and YouTube Drafted and Distilled. Thank you again a million times over, guys. So appreciative. This is Billy, your host as always. Drafted and Distilled, host forever. Until next time, guys, stay smooth, stay spirited, and I'll see you guys next round.